way many scholars interpret it is that because of the crossover between these angelic beings and humans, that means the seed would have been corrupted, and whatever the product of that is would be an evil being. But you're saying there was a more of a duality amongst it.
Man, I look at things super real. Again, black and white. I hate to be redundant, but super real. How could it? I don't. My area is not the metaphysical and all the So is Ezekiel 28. Ezekiel is a book of prophecy, and specifically 28, he's prophesying to the king of Tyre. King of Tyre's done some bad stuff, and it's his time to pay the piper. Ezekiel tells him, well, God says, remind him, you were the guarding cherub in my garden. You were beautiful, now look at you. Meaning, he used to be an angel. We got to take the Bible 100% serious, not like, well, they might be saying, no, what are they saying? And so Genesis and Ezekiel are pretty far apart, completely. So that means that angels were coming down still and taking roles as kings, and that's more of a Nephilim thing that I think is kind of how that progressed. But that's an example of that, of excuse me, a bad angel in place, in real time. And the Prince of Tyre, excuse me, his penance was that he was getting rich off his special knowledge. Well, he's the Prince of Tyre. King of Tyre is an angel or an ex-angel, so of course he's got special knowledge. So that's another example of how a bad attack, right? But Jebusites are one of the tribes from the Promised Land, and they are translated tramplers of men. They're clearly giants. Jerusalem was Jebus, the land of Jebusites, and David conquered it and blah. Well, during David's story after Goliath, he messes up and takes a census. Basically getting real prideful and wanting to see, how big's my army. And his people are like, don't do it. Don't. Joab, one of his mighty, councils, like, don't do it, dude. And David at this point is super like, I want it done. So he forces them to do it. So then the prophet at the time came to him like, hey, you messed up. God's here to tell me, I'm here to tell you, you got three choices, and it's like, you can this, or this, and he chooses a plague. The plague stops at the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. So that means that Jebusite, a giant, was domestic, he was part of the, he wasn't living in giant land. He was there with them. He was respected. He was, he had a threshing floor, meant he was, selling stuff. He was looked at respectfully. And also in that story, he offered to give his threshing floor to David.